Okay, I'm here at the Better Blokes camp in Canberra and catching up with Pastor Joel Cramer from Salisbury in South Australia. Joel is 33 and is a Lutheran pastor, and just going to find out a bit of his story. So Joel, tell us, whereabouts were you born and raised?
I was born in Mount Gambier down in South Australia, beautiful windy spot. It's good for flying kites. And when I was about 8, we moved to Horsham in Western Victoria, beautiful, flat, warm country.
And what was your family life like? Did you have a religious upbringing?
Yeah, I did. So my parents were both born Lutheran and brought me to the Lutheran church. And it's got its faults, but I love the church. That's where I was born again. Yep. That's where I've learned about Jesus. And yeah.
And what about when you finished school? What did you do? Did you go straight to uni or?
Yeah, no, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I left school. I hated that question. Everyone used to ask you, what do you want to do when you leave school? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I had no idea. I didn't feel like I was good at anything. But my pastor said, hey, have you considered being a pastor? And my first response was no, just because I had no clue about that. But the more people I talked to, they all said, yeah, we think you'd make a good pastor. We think you'd be a good pastor. And I had no other ideas. I had no idea what I was going to do. And so I thought, well, if they reckon I'd be a good pastor, I should go and check it out. So I went and studied, and as I did, the Lord just confirmed it. This is what he wanted me to do. And I had no public speaking skills. I wasn't a good leader. I was a good follower. And, God just worked in me and prepared me, and I'm ever eternally grateful for the work that he's done in me. Yeah.
And what was it like when you first became a pastor? How old were you, 25?
Yeah, I was pretty young. And, in the Lutheran church, you just get thrown out there in your first parish. You've got all the theological training and you're ready for anything, but you're not ready for anything. You got no idea what's coming, and you just learn as you grow and you make mistakes. And I had a beautiful country congregation, and they just loved me and my wife, and then later on our first daughter as well. They just loved us and looked after us, and they gave me the chance to make mistakes as well. And I always used to say I wasn't experienced, but I made up for it with enthusiasm. Yeah, so it was good.
And what did you think of Better Blokes this year?
I've loved it. I love it. I just love being here. I could just sit here and soak up all the love and all the goodness and all the passion for Jesus and the stuff God's doing. I just love it. I love to see it. And it just, sets me on fire.
We've been talking about the need for a revival among men. We need men to be active in church and be active in their families, to be the priests of their home, How important is it that any men listening to this start to fulfill their destiny in life?
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely vital. It's just, I want to see people burning with a passion and burning with the love of Jesus and sharing that, because people are starving. I see it everywhere, and they're hungry and fragile, and the only one that can fix it is God. And the only one that's going to share that is Christian men and women. And we know men reach out to men best, and women reach out to women best and minister to their hearts. And people are desperate, and this country is desperate, and the only thing that's going to make a difference is people and God working through them.
Now, this year's a big year for Lutherans. 500 years since Martin Luther nailed those theses to the Wittenberg door. What has your church been doing to honour the great work, of the man that said, "The just shall live by faith"?
Yeah. I've seen that door. It's a beautiful spot for Lutherans, and it makes me proud of my heritage to think about what Luther did and standing up for what he believed, which was Jesus and the gospel. In Germany, it's funny, they're planting a whole lot of trees for all churches all around the world, and they're planning to plant 500 trees. And a really good mentor of mine, Dean Eaton, who's a church planter, he said, I think it'd be better, and Luther would love it, if we could plant 500 churches. So it might not be a big flashy event. It's simple stuff, but that's what we want to do. We want to be planting churches, and so we're preparing teams to go out there and just share Jesus' love with other people, one-on-one, simple stuff, and I think that's more important.
And of course, the wonderful thing now is that we have access to the Bible all over the world because of that man and what he did. Tell us about your personal devotions with the Bible. What do you do to study the Word? Do you just read it to get ready to preach on Sunday, or do you feed yourself as well?
No, that's really important. Yeah, no, I do read it to preach, and that's obviously something I have to do, but I've got to read it for myself too. Otherwise you just dry up, don't you? And I find personally, I can't read 2 or 3 chapters. I can only take one at a time. Sometimes I feel like I can only take one paragraph at a time, but I just read it and I listen and I say, God, what are you saying to me? Because I need to hear his voice. I need to know he's here with me, and I need to, that his voice is just life for me. Yep. That's my devotion.
Well, it's great to meet a young 33-year-old pastor from Salisbury, South Australia. What's the name of your church if people want to look you up?
It's the ARC, Salisbury Lutheran Church. Yeah.
ARK?
ARK, yeah.
How come you called it that?
It's a funny story, but to keep it short, the building looks like the shape of an ark, and people just started calling it this. And I thought, I don't know if that's a great name for a church, but that's what I've been calling it for years. I thought, well, there's some good stories in that, and stories of redemption and stories of grace. God saved Noah and his family out of the flood, and that's what we're there to do as well. We're there to be a safe place, a rescuing place, and where we can be God's instruments to pull them out of the flood and bring them the salvation of Jesus. Yeah.
Great name. Let's pray that you do get many people saved in Salisbury, South Australia. God bless you, Joel. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Pleasure.